be on the road, so.
Okay,
um,
I guess we'll start with a roll call.
Katie Souls.
Parks Thompson.
Tiffany Gatesman.
Steve Fitzgerald.
Greg Beckler.
Just need to make a movement to approve the agenda right now.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. There any additions to this agenda that we need to make? No. Awesome.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Yeah. Need to move. Anybody? Second?
So moved.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the minutes, I think that's the consent, right?
That was, yeah.
Perfect. All right, cool. Well, looks like we have for the agenda here, pretty big agenda today. Yep, we have open forum. Is anybody here for open forum? No. That works for me. So we have discussion and possible action of the DDA 2026 budget. And I think that's in a packet here.
Yes, it is in the packet and there are some printouts as well.
It's on the back page.
So the budget is largely the same budget that has previously been approved as a draft budget. This has been presented to our Board of Trustees just as part of the general overall town budget. There will be a formal public hearing on the budget at the next board meeting with the hope to be approving a final budget at the December 4th meeting. So that public hearing is November 19th. But I did just present this to the board last week. There weren't any questions or comments. The budget message is quite similar to last year, just kind of walks through the revenues and expenses. Obviously, most of our revenues, with the exception of about $500 in interest, comes from tax increment and then money that's being rolled over from the previous budget. It walks through the different expenditures that we've discussed, areas of like district enhancements and community outreach, because we didn't really spend any money this past year, or very small amounts. Those are about double what we had budgeted last year without me rolling over. And the budget message just kind of discusses that we kind of explore different enhancements, but due to kind of various moving pieces, ongoing plans, like the wayfinding study and the town comprehensive plan, it just didn't seem like the right time to move forward with any of the different avenues that were explored. But hopefully with some of those plans, the wayfinding's been finalized. We're still waiting to see what the various municipalities, being Fraser, Winter Park, as well as the resort, are going to move forward with as priorities for the year to come. I know the town is putting some money in their budget for that. But once that happens, I think the DDA may be in a position, if they wanted to take on a piece of that wayfinding project in terms of signage for Fraser. We now have kind of the model for that signage. It's been put a little bit on hold as a collaborative effort with Winter Park, as Winter Park town manager left in September. They have hired a new town manager that starts in January. So hopefully we'll have a joint meeting with Winter Park, and wayfinding will be one of those topics of discussion early next year. And then the Fraser Town Comprehensive Plan is also, did we actually have that, has that been published for the public yet? Do you know?
The survey,
draft?
the survey is available live for people to go in and take that. But I don't know if the actual comp plan has been.
Okay.
It's on the meeting agenda.
It was on the meeting agenda. I will send that to you all. It either has just been published for the public or will be published here very shortly for public feedback and comments. So it'd be great if the DDA, if you want to weigh in. I know we've weighed in as a group in meetings specific to the kind of economic development downtown vision portion, but you can see the plan in its entirety, and please send it to your colleagues, friends, anybody that might have opinions and thoughts. But we're looking to adopt that. I believe at this point it's been pushed likely to January to give a little more time for public comment.
Yeah. It is in the planning commission
Yep, I'm looking at it
packet
right
for
now.
tonight.
Okay,
It is,
Yep,
That's
and
fine.
then they do have a comment on there about it's open for public comment.
yes.
great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I think it would make sense with this budget. Last year, we included the work plan. I think the work plan is due for an update, so I opted not to include the work plan in the formal budget message. I think it would make sense, possibly December, but perhaps at our January meeting to really kind of revisit that and try to map out our priorities for the year in terms of what we're looking to do. We can possibly revisit some of the projects, new projects. I know we've talked about a lot of different things. So again, the budget message just kind of speaks to all of that generally. Lori, did you want to make any comments on the budget or the changes from the last draft?
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna, if you have questions, you used the last one I sent you.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is just slightly different from the last one that the DDA board saw and approved because Lori added in an interest from Colorado Trust for 500 and kind of just updated some of the rollover amounts. So that's where some of those dollar amounts are slightly different in terms of the revenues. But we're still at just under 10,000 in terms of expected kind of unassigned fund balance. And then the expenditures all remain the same.
And the plan is for next month to review a projection out into the future.
Yes, so one of the items for next month's meeting, Troy has looked at some tax increments projections into the future, so we can have a better idea of when we expect these revenues to start climbing a bit and to have a little more money to work with.
Yeah, that'll just help with all the planning.
Yeah, no, I think that will be helpful for sure.
Yeah, and I will say, ever since that meeting around the signs and the wayfinding thing, I cycle a ton, so I've been out and about in my gravel and mountain bike.
Yeah.
The signage in this town is actually pretty great.
Oh,
And there's just about every trail is labeled,
Yeah.
and I don't know what the individual was talking about when she said that there is no signage on the Fraser River Trail, because at every single access point in Fraser, there is a sign and a map and information. So yeah, I think it's great we're going to conform to a standard for the valley, but it's not like we're lacking.
and Sarah had just recently for the town, after we went through the whole logo and rebranding for the town, done signage for
Yep.
that you see around town. So if that stays up for a couple more years, I don't think that's the end of the world. But eventually they're looking at making that more uniform with Winter Park and increasing, I mean, we seem to do everything a little smaller than perhaps what would be ideal to kind of see it. So I think that text will grow. But it's good to have that
Yeah.
perspective.
I never paid much attention to it until that meeting, and everywhere I went, yep, there's one. It's 8 feet tall,
There is a lack of, I don't know, I've never been out there, but a lack of signage or a lack of being able to be seen. Leaving the trail going to County Road 8 and then having to go to 40 to the ball fields. Cause there's a lot of people that go on that property.
Yep. Yeah, and I take that turn all the time.
Yeah,
and you're right.
is there a sign there?
There's access, there's a sign at the 8 access.
But does it say
But
to like,
it doesn't
go to
really
40?
direct you to the ball field.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be a hole in.
Mhm.
There is a sign at the ball field, though, at some point. I just can't remember where.
It's right there on the corner.
Is it
Yeah.
right on the corner? Yeah.
Yeah. No, any other questions or comments about the budget message?
It's pretty straightforward to me.
I like it. And I like how you've just explained expenditures, just the basics on what the money is used for. You did a very nice job of it. Thank you.
And I think it'll get, we'll see a lot more things added in the next 5 years. I think now, still with the DDA being pretty new, we're still trying to find exactly our place, you know what I mean? And so I think that's good that everybody that came today, thanks for coming, because we do need some help with the new board here and kind of finding and assigning things so that we can do. Just appreciate that.
Yeah, and I will say the budget line items, are similar to the level of specificity, I can never say that word.
Yeah.
Specificity in our town budget. So I don't know that we need, 20 or 30 budget line items. We might just have a better idea going into the year of what it
I'm ready and say, no, no,
when we
no,
say
no.
community outreach or district enhancements. I think Lori would not be super happy
No,
with
I'm
us.
I think, at the stage that the DDA is right now, I mean, that can grow organically as it comes up. Because sometimes, you don't want to be over detailed because you'll wind up with 100 of these if you're trying to be a little too specific. So we try to just stick with the general right now. And then when I'm doing the books and things, I go, okay, what were they up to? Oh, they went to training, they went to here, they did this. As it goes, if things start to reoccur, that's when I probably let Sarah know or let you guys know. Hey, I think you're getting enough going on here that we need something more specific.
Yeah.
But right now,
Yeah, there you go.
and then when we put this together, this doesn't officially get sent to the state of Colorado. You are a separate budget, separate from the town. But the board can approve everything. They'll do, get all the approvals and the allocations, where you have permission to spend the money and where the money's allocated gets put into the big budget packet, which is, I'll submit about January. I usually do that about the middle of January, just in case something big and exciting comes up.
Yeah.
So there's time to still kind of sort of make adjustments, but once it's approved, then it just sits. I really don't touch it and just wait and see what may or may not come up.
Cool. And, any more questions on this or can we move on?
We need to prove it.
We can approve that. Someone want to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the combined budget message.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
DDA Town Fraser MOU.
Oh, sorry, IGA. I listed that wrong.
Got
Funny, I was looking for last year's and it kept I couldn't find it. It wasn't coming up because I kept putting MOU in. So I apologize that I also put that on the agenda, but it is in fact an IGA, intergovernmental agreement.
There we go.
Serves a similar purpose. The only thing I changed really in this was the dates. So this is basically the same IGA that we approved last year and the town board approved for support from the town to the Downtown Development Authority. I think it is still appropriate, particularly as the DDA is waiting to have more revenues to continue to lean on the town for support. It is quite standard, I think, for the clerk to play the role of document holder for downtown development authorities and for finance to continue to hold the budget. As we've discussed in the future, I think it would be appropriate to potentially have somebody else in that executive director role, whether it be like a consultant service or somebody part-time. I don't know that you're going to need a full-time director anytime in the near future. But again, it's pretty much the same IGA. Our next item, we can talk about some additional staff support that Callie might be able to provide the DDA in terms of some different things that we might be looking at for next year. But any questions? This would be presented to the town board at their December 4th meeting when they are reviewing and approving various IGAs with different entities that the town works with.
If it's the same as last year, it's probably good for this year. Because I don't think we've had anything change so far, so.
Right.
And the staff
Yeah.
support is what really
Yeah.
has pulled this all together.
Yep.
So thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah. that's
appreciate
great.
that.
You guys have done an excellent job.
Of course.
It's a
Make a
wonderful.
motion to approve the IGA between Town of Fraser and the DDA.
Okay.
Seconded.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we're gonna move on to social media and event support. And I know we're kind of pulling in Callie for that, right? Sounds like it. Yeah. So we were discussing this a few days ago, and I feel like the DDA having an Instagram at the moment is not,
Premature.
it's a little premature. I don't really think there's a whole lot to promote on it. And if we are going to promote something on it, I think it should be fairly professional looking. And it's not due to anybody or anything that's gone on so far, but I think that we need to kind of, if you are going to be helping us, we need to provide you with content so you don't have to go get it because I just feel like that's unfair. And I feel like promoting the businesses within the DDA, we have to do that somewhat equally. So like building content that way, I don't think any one of us is going to be someone that's like, all right, I'm gonna go get all this content. I feel like that is somewhere where we could hire a local photographer to kind of go out and maybe a graphic designist, or we could put a little something in the budget to build ads for these businesses or to build, kind of our promotions for these businesses or events, and then give it to you to post. I feel like the content, I don't want to put that on you because I know that that's a lot of work.
Mhm.
And
Could I just
Yeah.
one nuance in there that
Sure.
I don't think we're addressing is there are events that take place in the community that drive sales tax revenue, that drive revenue to businesses, et cetera. And I do think that that's a great collaboration for the work that Kelly does on behalf of the town and bluntly Fraser Valley Arts to make sure that Fire and Ice, the Mural Festival, Plein Air, et cetera, National Theater Live, every single one of those comes with the opportunity for the patron who attends them to come and spend money in the community. And
Yeah.
that serves the DDA. So I would think that our limited Instagram presence would be to follow, resend, and piggyback on all
Like
the promotion that
repost.
goes into that.
I think reposting would probably be a good idea for anything in the DDA, really. Um, but then, then it comes down to like the look of the feed and what you want that to be. I think those are great posts because they're done really well. But if it comes down to like, say just a business posting something, then is it really the right mission statement or, so we would kind of have to create some, so to speak, I don't know, sort of bylaws around that, like what we're gonna,
Yeah, what's posted, what's.
yeah,
acceptable.
what is,
But I think reposting
it's great.
probably the
Yeah.
easiest and
Yeah.
most sensical thing to do, just
Uh-huh.
because it's like, hey, we're just promoting what's going on here. We're not
Yeah.
driving it, we're just supporting it, so.
And I mean, like, I know this is the next subject, but like ski ride save promotion, like that's something we could build
Mhm.
something for, you know what I mean? I know last year that didn't really go far.
Yeah, well, just to
didn't really-
jump in with a little bit of background and context as a reminder, last year, Abby, who isn't here today, but she had suggested building out social media, created a plan, fell through on actual implementation, right? And Abby's got a million businesses and had a third baby. And so she was the first to be like, I can't actually do this at the end of the day. So we had talked with Sarah Wick about helping to do that. And she also just kind of didn't get to it. So to provide a little more context, Callie was hired by the town. Was it starting last year?
Yeah, a year and a half ago.
Has it been that long? Okay, a year and a half ago, on a part-time basis, based on her role with the Public Arts Committee, to help out with the town events. So she's done a lot with Fire and Ice, Picnic in the Park, and Mural Festival. So Sarah and I had talked about, she had some hours that are already approved by the town and in the town budget where she could potentially help if the DDA wanted to try to do some, I'm not looking for the DA to do another Fire and Ice, but if there were some small scale events or anything like that, I know we've got the conference series on here as a topic of discussion, that she'd be able to help with some of that execution. And if we did want a social media presence, that she could help with that. and I think would be more effective at getting something versus nothing out if that's something that the DDA wants to have. So I have given her the plan that Abby started. And I know she had sent that out originally as a Google Doc for anybody to provide input or content. I think you're right in terms of if we're promoting businesses, that has to be done fairly.
Yeah.
One of the ideas in the past has been that a simple form or something is sent out and businesses provide content. And so maybe starting with businesses that receive like a business enhancement grant and showing their new
Yeah.
facelifts, but putting it a bit on the business if they want to be promoted. And then we're happy to, polish it and share across the board kind of thing. So it is up for discussion, and we can definitely do a more deep dive into social media and what that looks like if that's something the board wants to do either in December or early next year. But that was the idea of just having kind of more boots on the ground for the TDA and staff support to help with execution of things that the board might want to do.
Callie, after looking at the documents and everything, do you have any common suggestions, or have you kind of thought about what the process to help the DDA would look like?
Yeah, I mean, I've read over some of these things and I mean, it all sounds, fairly simple. It's not, it doesn't sound hard to enhance any of the businesses by sharing or trying to promote them with some extra photos. Obviously, I do a lot of the events in town, so it's additional events. Same for stuff like that, seems really simple. I don't think I have anything to add to this because it was longer than I expected it to be. For social media.
This is an ambitious
Yeah,
thorough
very,
plan.
very. So yeah, I mean, definitely some ideas for like how you can lay out the social media to make it, I don't know, look more aesthetically pleasing for
Right.
the bit to the whole.
That was my exact thought. I was like, if they're gonna come to this page, it needs to be
Yeah,
the right look.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's easy enough to make different, bubbles of topics for different stages and have it look nice and uniform.
Does whatever Abby came up with have like a schedule of how often stuff's being posted, or like do you agree with, like I think social media is great if you have enough to post and you're consistent about it.
Yeah, I mean, I
And-
definitely think consistency is the key.
Yeah.
She does have a month by month framework.
Mhm.
Don't know if it was like weekly things that she had on here. I don't know if she got that specific.
No,
Cause I think, I think
think
it's
it's-
worth like dedicating her time and effort to, if it's like, we're gonna see the value of it. And I
Yeah.
think it's like at least, whether it's just reposting a story once a week or something that just keeps that kind of momentum going so that people have a reason to follow and be like, oh, I get information from here. Like the town posts just enough to be like, oh, it's worth following. I get information.
yeah, the stories are easy to do. I think that
Yeah. And so I think if there's a low enough lift, but meaningful enough impact of like, hey, let's post every week or repost every week so that we get traction, I think it's worth doing, and glad you have the time to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, that's definitely something that we can figure out. I mean, if it's just like 2 different days a week that there's different things posted, she does have a couple like meet the DDA members, host live Q&A sessions. I think obviously that part would be on you guys. But yeah, I mean, we could do that and be consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you need like momentum on something within the DDA to be done, like you need the town behind it. I think that that's the better way to go. Like you could get a poll started. I think that's kind of what she meant by that. Like, because you can post polls on story or whatever, and then it could be reshared. But I really think the only way for the DDA to pop off on Instagram is for every single DDA member that has an Instagram to be sharing those posts. Like it's a chain reaction, So like if I post something, then my friends are posting it, then and then Winter Park Resort posts it because I was skiing, then it actually gets traction. But if we're just gonna post it to the DDA page, nothing's gonna happen. So DDA has to post it, then I have to see that and say, well, I'm a DDA member and I posted to my story. Steve has to do it, and that's something typical for a board like this to do to grow it. Otherwise, you're just going to be posting and it's going to do nothing. So
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely learned that with Fraser Valley. Arts.
yeah.
We have to dump significant amounts of money
Yeah.
to a post or scene.
And
But it's a value relative to print ads and things like
It-
that. So we're trending, as Callie knows,
Yeah.
we're trending towards much more use of Insta and Facebook.
Sure. Well, and it's the same thing too. Like, if we want more people at these meetings, then people need to be posting on the Facebook, because how's the town gonna really find out? All your friends find out because you post, whether they like it or not. So, if you want more people or traffic to something, then we have to share it. Oh, totally. Yeah. Bring it down.
Subject near and dear to my heart. So so this is John Henley. So, not a promo, but if you don't know, I have a major show coming up in Miami, in December. Art Basel is one of the largest shows in the world. My social media doesn't do anything comparatively unless I have those
Mhm.
pickups, right? So I do these other groups. The business is Redwood Art Group, and they have fairs all over the country. But unless I get them to collaborate and it gets to their viewers who are actually the collectors or anything else, because all of my followers, they're already usually my customers or my collectors or anything else, and they ain't driving to Miami, right? The other thing is, the only reason I'm here today is because I saw Parks post on social media about the event. There's just too much out there, and everybody knows how I try and be involved in my communities. There's just too much out there, right? So that resharing, that growing that organically but my other thing is, you guys have to come up with a goal. I didn't hear anybody state what the goal of even having social media is for the DDA. So without that goal, I don't know that there's even worth any effort to having the posts go out or because to the outside public, taking off my business hat, the outside public, I don't know how many of your residents actually know that there is a DDA and or what it does and something I've been on a big kick about lately is separating the part-time residents from the the full-time residents. They're all just residents. They all pay taxes, they all pay property taxes, they all do sales revenue. But that was something else. So, seeing what that goal is for the DDA to have the social media and what it's driving of that revenue, start there, then worry about where we're going with the sharing and everything else.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think some of the context you may not have is, we've been talking about our Instagram and social media presence for previous meetings. And the goal has been around informing the public about events such as you just cited. The trigger for you coming was you saw it, and to do what we can with our promotion arm, but to just build a basic presence. So the goal conversation is kind of behind us, so that we could establish that and have it. Now we're mostly talking about what we do with it until we're robust enough
Right.
to really go.
And we're hoping, I think, that some of those needs kind of from the community come through that. So there might be some comments or something saying, we need more park benches or we need some bike racks or whatever. Like, that's the sort of stuff that the DDA can handle and we would love to handle, but no one's come to us yet with that, and so I think, and then it would make, business for guys like you or other people in the community that weld or, make artsy things. Like, we could potentially do things like that if there's a need and someone says we need it.
So my intuition too tells me we should really kick it off when we do have something that we're putting money into that is clearly of benefit to the community.
And I think
Versus kind of a nebulous, well, we can do whatever we need to benefit our community within the DDA boundary. But to have something that we fund that we can say, okay, look, this is
Well, and
new
I
access.
just see no downside to having Callie or whomever serve in the capacity of doing that when
Right.
those events arise, as well as retweeting, reposting the events that they're happening in the community to just extend it and, somewhat to the comment just made to also build traffic to the Instagram and Facebook sites for the DDA for such a time when it's more robust.
And I am a bit of a dinosaur because I still don't have, I think I opened a DDA or an Instagram account, but I've never used it.
Yeah, I will tell you
And I
that
glanced
we
at
were,
Facebook.
we spent at Fraser Valley Arts last year. Callie helped me out here, but for the mural festival, which we helped the town with, and then plein air, we spent a little over $1,000 for both of those events.
Well, Sarah did a lot for like mural festival.
Well, we posted all that, so
Yeah.
all that traffic came
Yeah.
through us, and it was 1,600.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we we got reimbursed for 1,600. And the ability to target somebody
Mhm.
who frequents this valley, who has an interest in or a second home or primary resident, that sort of thing,
Yeah.
was remarkably accurate. And I mean, we
Cool.
sold out plein air, even though we increased the number of tickets dramatically, and we did less traditional marketing this year,
Huh.
and largely on that. So it was cheaper and
Yeah.
more effective.
And I think too,
Yeah,
like,
they'd be a great asset for this.
yeah, and I think like the real power of the DDA too is not spending the $40,000 we have in public, whatever the bucket was, but you know, incentivizing development and things with rebates. And I think that'll be something we can kind of plug to really stoke excitement on social media soon, is like the DDA is enabling a multi-million-dollar project. Here's what we have available, and then targeting like, you know, users of that space that we want to see as part of the comp plan and the downtown vision. I think social media will be a useful tool for that.
No,
to really
totally. And
spread that message.
I think that's the major benefit of the DDA. It's just we're not there yet, you know.
Yeah.
But we're getting
But
there,
I think,
and that's
I mean,
how we
we'll
get
be
there.
there really soon with some stuff to, you know, say the DDA is, you know, providing a tax rebate for future development, like,
Yeah.
you know, that'll really help communicate the power of it and how invested Fraser is. You know, you're not spending $1 million today, but it's over the time, you know,
Yeah.
choosing to put that money towards getting the types of thing Fraser wants to see, the DDA wants to see in its downtown, which I think is important.
And I'll just, as a reminder, one of the buckets of the plan of development is this area where business spirit and creativity are intertwined, and really focusing on kind of supporting local businesses and building up a downtown brand. So some of the goals for that strategy are promoting and supporting a sustainable local economy where all businesses may thrive, develop building investment programs that support local character, local arts, and locally owned businesses, create a distinct downtown brand and marketing strategy to promote the downtown as a regional destination, support public art, street level activation, placemaking, and physical enhancements that make downtown unique, and encouraging entrepreneurship through business development support programs, inclusion of creative spaces, co-working incubator, maker spaces, retail opportunities. So I think with this goal in particular, there is a space for kind of marketing and promotion and social media. What that looks like, I think in the future, if the DDA wants to throw more money into it, working with, you know, professional influencers or, you know, whoever it may be, I think can make sense. But I think starting to build some level of presence, and just helping with that marketing and promotion and sharing.
Yep.
And there is a lot of social media out there, and I constantly struggle with, because the DDA is most of Fraser. I mean, it's pretty much almost all of our commercial corridor. There is a lot of overlap with Explore Fraser, which Sarah, I think does a great job. Sarah Wick does a great job managing, and Callie works very closely with Sarah. So I think they can collaborate on this too, to have some distinction while also sharing. But
Sarah, I see that you snuck in.
Yeah.
Do you have any comments, or suggestions, or?
I mean, I was
Thoughts?
listening to you guys online. I would just, my opinion about this is just like, don't overthink it. I mean, you're not trying to promote Chanel or anything like that. So I would say just start doing stuff right now. It doesn't, as long as it goes with the guidelines that you have been given, you can utilize, you know, the town's branding, and because the logo looks the same. So use the colors, the fonts and everything, create little graphics. Everybody has a phone, like she's got a phone, she can shoot photography. It doesn't have to be super duper high quality right now. If you're going to do some bigger promotion, then yes, maybe spend some money on a video. that you can't shoot yourself, but like you see creators all the time just shoot on their phone and use the stuff that they do have. I mean, I shoot with my phone, quite honestly, a lot. So,
So I guess I mean, ski ride save, right? Like that's sort of in the social media category. I had the idea of just paying an influencer to ride the ski train and then just promoting the ski ride save promotion and just doing it through them and collaborating with them. So like my friend has 10 million followers. She would ride the train up and she does this sort of stuff all the time, right? Like that's what she does. She gets paid to do that. And you do a collaboration with them, then you have the 10 million people as an audience immediately for that promotion. Um, Not that I want to do that, but I think that it's a different way of marketing that the town hasn't done yet. I don't know if you've done that yet, paid influencers, but I think that that would be kind of fun for the DDA because it's promoting the downtown. Um, and it's not going into like an elaborate like commercial, you know?
mhm.
And so we're kind of staying out of that realm, but still showing people with other people that this is how it works. You get on the train here, it's fun, you have your glass of wine, you eat your food, and you ski, and then you head back, you know. And that's kind of what that's what an influencer is going to do, but they're going to make it compact in 15 to 30 seconds, and they already have their format, and that's why they have their followers. You're just saying that our format or our town fits your format and your target demographic.
I think all the more reason to get something going and you have the time to do it, so. Do it.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't really know much about social media. All I know about is getting.
Introduce yourself.
Sorry,
Okay.
Ann Kuchenmeister. So for getting the businesses to do, if you're wanting to do like highlights, we found that sending out a form generally gets a pretty low response rate. It's secondary to what they're trying to do in their everyday. But if you can have someone go out quarterly, send a flyer out ahead, an email out ahead, we're going to be showing up on this day throughout the day at businesses. If you're there, you can tell us about your business. We're going to collect that footage and then you roll out that footage over the whole quarter. And then people start to catch on to it, but they don't have to do anything. They're just doing their day. And you say, tell me the most exciting thing about your business in 30 seconds, right? And grab it, go. That's all you need. You can use a still or the video, but that way you're going to get potentially higher participation because it's not going to be reliant on scheduling or, a dialogue with them to do that.
Good idea.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One more, and piggybacking on it, John Henley. So I think in my experience in working with the different municipalities, there's an old saying that says the avoidance of pain is a higher motivator than the promise of reward. And a lot of people like to complain. Has anybody heard of that before? So especially business owners, right? And especially with government groups. So the idea of that Parks mentioned in kind of in passing, but hey, what do you guys want us to do? So I think maybe a little bit of a campaign, not through the social at first so much, but like, hey, do you know we're doing this? This is some pre-promo time for you, or, but how do you want us to see, right? And then you can promote your accolades via the social media. Hey, we're putting in, Fire and Ice drop, and then did you know that Fire and Ice drives this much sales revenue towards here, right? As a social media post, right? And have that part of your target of what that is. But if you started off with taking away the fear of anger or the taking, hey, we gave you your voice, then they have no people don't have a room to complain at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were talking about that a couple meetings ago. It's like, hey, yeah, so here's your place to do it.
Well, I think if like the offer to promote and give them something is a good way rather than just like the coffee talk, like come tell us your problems or what you want to see from us. Like, hey, we're gonna take photos of every business and promote it on social media for free. That's a good way to kind of get a good response. And then you kind of learn all those other things about what are their concerns, what are they having trouble with? Because you always hear it from every business owner about,
Oh yeah.
the town is one way or the other and how things are going.
Oh,
So,
there's always something.
yeah. So I
So
think that's a great idea.
I agree. I think this horse is thoroughly dead.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so we can, if people would like to build out more of a defined social media plan, we could definitely bring that back. I'm happy to circulate what Abby previously put together, with any added thoughts that Kelly has, but I feel like I'm generally hearing that people are good with having the added support.
Absolutely.
Ms. Zarina?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
And in full disclosure, just for those that don't know, Callie's other part-time job, amongst others, is she runs the events for Fraser Valley Arts. And it's a pretty involved activity, but it dovetails very nicely with these roles.
Do you like Fraser?
Do we need
It's
to
wonderful,
approve
thanks.
this or
Good ambassador.
should we? Do we need to approve that?
I mean, I don't know that there's really,
Okay.
he wanted to make a motion, but I don't think
Yeah,
we
no.
need anything formal. She falls within the added staff.
Yeah.
support
Do we need to
category
talk
that
about the
she-
ski ride save promotion now too?
Yeah, so let
Alright.
me go ahead and pull this up just to show you,
Do it. All right.
give you some context.
Oh.
So last year, we started this kind of, as the DDA was getting underway with different things. And as we came to realize kind of late in the game that the ski train program was being, and it's not actually called the ski train, but that the CDOT in the state, they were expanding it. They were going to offer more service, more days, cheaper tickets. And we're really trying to promote it. So the idea was kind of twofold, that we try to promote people now that they can get off in Fraser, which was something new last year. They could get on and off in Fraser. Previously, it stopped at the resort and then would come just sit past Fraser all day. So now it makes a stop at the resort, makes a stop in Fraser. So trying to promote riding the train, and then as well as just trying to promote Fraser and encouraging people, like, you can take the train to Fraser. Not a skier, great, come to Fraser for the day. You're a skier, great, go ski, come have a whiskey, ride the train home, whatever it may be. So promotion was pretty limited. Sarah put this together on the Explore Fraser website. And we just reached out to different businesses and asked who would like to participate. We are in the process of trying to confirm who would like to continue this year. So right now, this is not published, but these are the businesses that participated last year with what they offered. And we put it out on social media. I mean, we had a couple print things, but it was pretty minimal advertising. So the discussion today is, we talked very briefly at our last meeting if we wanted to continue it. I think doing something low level is pretty low investment and there's no reason not to. But if we do want to continue with it, what we want it to look like. We had talked about, I think Nick is not here, but he had talked about like a passport idea, and Sarah's explored a couple things she can talk about. We also can throw some money at advertising, be it an influencer or kind of the more traditional online forums that Sarah has used, but just what we want to do.
Well, and we certainly could connect our social media marketing to the railroad, because they're going to have a vested interest in that. I don't see any downside to continuing it. Fraser Valley Arts is willing to do like a $5 discount for the National Theater Live performances, which will be in the same winter period.
Okay.
And if anything, it's laying the groundwork again for more robust ridership. The one thing I do think is a little wonky is, even in the website here, it says ski train. It's not the ski train.
Right.
So let's use the nomenclature that is being used by the people who run it, or both. But let's at least conform so that people can find us.
What is it now?
I just looked it up. It is the Winter Park Express, at least according to Amtrak, who operates it.
And maybe we just use on that big headline, train riders,
Right.
and then reference underneath that Winter Park Express.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, coming
something
up on
like
the Winter
that.
Park Express, something like that, because we're promoting Fraser.
Right.
And, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Not
and I get
necessarily
the-
skiing.
Totally. And I get that the colloquial
Yeah, good
nomenclature
point.
is ski train, so
So
fine.
stay on there. The ski train is back on the winter.
Oh, I didn't realize I was sharing my screen still, but yeah, so just gonna point that out.
Yeah, and it's right there in the top.
I think there's an argument either way, because yeah, I feel like everybody still calls it the ski train.
But again, if you're somebody who lives in Denver, who
Yeah.
moved here a year ago, you don't know what ski train is. So
Yeah.
we should use, at least make reference to both terms.
Yeah,
Yes. Point taken.
yeah, there's train riders.
Sarah mentioned that you have some comments and thoughts about what you're planning for this year.
I mean, I guess it's all dependent on what you guys want to do. I mean, the other Sarah and I, this is confusing with us.
I know.
And just a real quick clarification, last year, the way this worked is just, it tells you to show your ticket, and it could be any Amtrak ticket. We've also talked about, you know, if we want to do like busting or, you know, tickets as well. And then you would get these discounts. So it was a pretty simple process.
I think last year was kind of started too late in the game. So to me, that was one of the issues. And then, so Sarah and I talked about ways to track this, if we want to do some kind of digital thing, like, again, it's kind of what you guys want to do. I can find solutions for everything. We have tried like a actual, this was a few years ago, it was an actual physical passport where businesses provided a discount and then they would go around to the businesses and get like a stamp, like an actual passport. It just never took off because there were only 4 businesses. Nobody
Yeah.
wanted to participate. They didn't want to offer a deal. It just ended up being kind of expensive and not effective. So, I don't know. I don't
There's
know if the
a
answer-
sounds cumbersome.
virtual passport or something like that. What have you looked at the cost of that or anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's anywhere between like an annual fee, depending on what you would want to do, somewhere between 2,000 and 5,000.
Okay.
But I don't know if it makes sense with a limited amount of businesses. So I don't know. I have a
So-
lot of thoughts, but I don't know if I want to get into the weeds.
Would,
On this, if somebody goes to open it, can you put a link to the business?
that's what it is
That's
right
what
now.
that red,
Okay, I
Highlighted.
thought, well, I tried to open it up and I didn't get a link,
I would,
that,
but
Oh,
I just
Yeah,
barely,
it goes to whatever,
I
whether
was
it be a
thinking-
website or.
there you go. Okay, cool. So it's in there. Great.
I,
With the address.
I think since that's like a call to action, like, hey, check these out.
Yeah.
You're coming off the train, like the Google Maps link would be more intuitive to me, just because like you go through those links and there's a big like difference in those websites between them all. And like, I just think like it's
Sure.
all, you know, brewing, Birdie Lounge is probably the least clear there, but massage, distilling, mountain sports, corn dog, like it's coffee, beer co. It's very like, you know what you're going there for. So it's like, all right, beer, $2 off, take me there.
what
think
if
it
it's a
makes more sense to
graphic
do
of
that.
a map and it's like, you're here and this is where all the other ones are.
Yeah,
Something like that.
perfect,
It's super
like-
simple.
Because that way it's just like, you know, the person hitting this up doesn't know Fraser most likely.
Right.
And it's like, all right, I want beer, I want whiskey, I
Yeah,
want food.
That's
Like,
perfect.
I like
agree.
the, I like the location better because then it's consistent and
Yep.
like,
Like
you
that.
know,
So to
Especially
get
with
off
the
train,
images
like, how
from
do I
the
get
sign
there?
you made that we might put up there for future discussion.
is
But
that?
speaking of signs, would we want to ask Amtrak to put a advertisement sign on the Amtrak's station to say, like, as people walk off, like, hey, like, if you have an Amtrak ticket, you get deals in town.
just treat it
Yeah.
like parking and
Thought
do
of
it. No one notices.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Did like an A-frame sign last year, and I think it was
Okay.
at like
Yeah.
Fire and Ice, which was not, it was dark, you couldn't really see it.
Yeah.
So I think we could easily throw that
Yep.
on the
okay.
Amtrak platform. And I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, because we started this again pretty late and wanted to be able to add businesses, we kept it, it's like a QR code and it takes you to here, so you can
Awesome.
see the list of businesses. So
Cool.
I think it's all still relevant,
Yeah, if we could put that on the
the platform.
Docker platform.
We've tried to look if anybody has a connection into actually advertising on the ski train and have not been able to get a response back from anybody about doing so. If we wanted to throw a little bit of money at it, Sarah, do you want to talk about the way you typically advertise stuff for the town and what kind of those price points are?
It really depends what it is. I mean, I prefer digital because I can track it, but like, I think for example, like on the lift, I think it was 4 different signs, annual contract. I'm not doing it this year because I didn't see a lot of traction from it. It was $3,000. On the buses, I don't know what Amtrak is. I tried to get in contact with Winter Park Resort because apparently they're the ones to get in touch with after talking to Amtrak.
Mhm.
They just don't respond.
That's true. On all levels.
Okay. So we're not just.
No, it's not just
solely
you.
lacking.
It's not just you.
With Winter Park Resort.
Yeah.
Contact me offline. I can absolutely help with that. I can
Okay.
Make it happen today.
Okay.
Great.
We don't wanna see it.
But we-
Print ads in like Sky High, those are crazy expensive.
Yeah.
And the only way that I'll do those is usually if I have a QR code to see if people are scanning them, I'll keep it real simple, so you almost have to scan it.
Mhm.
I don't know.
It sounds like getting them off the train. Like say with the
I do like
could
on
do
the
like a
QR
Google
code and then
ad,
social
something
media.
like that on-
Well, and this is where the video would come in for the Google ad, like the parks, the one you were talking about where she rides the train.
Yeah.
We put that up on a Google ad, and then just blast it out to
Yeah, and I'm not
Short Range
saying it,
people.
it has to happen. I'm just saying that was an idea that there are influencers that do that.
It is a good
And
idea.
it would be cool for Fraser to get involved with the influencer realm since we're kind of getting trendy with it.
I would like
So-
to discuss that more.
You know, yeah, we could maybe put that down on another agenda.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the
Definitely for
short
December
answer
to
is,
try to get that done soon.
so the short answer is like, it depends on what you want to do. Like the Google ads and the digital ads, it's all about like, how much do you want to spend? And that's, you
yeah.
get a bigger reach that way.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, it depends on the influencer you're working with. If they're Denver based, then it's going to be a lot cheaper.
I just meant on a Google ad or
Okay,
like
okay.
YouTube, like display ads, that kind of thing, the ones you see on the side.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
in YouTube, those.
Google ad would be not too bad. That'd be easy to come up with a budget for, probably.
Yeah.
And you think we
Well,
could
just approve the
tie
budget.
both the influencer and the
Well-
Google ad together?
You'd add-
So
Mm.
this is what I would just kind of keep them separate, have the influencer do their thing and then create a video. Like it could be as simple as just like point of view footage of somebody's going onto the train and like maybe you're just showing their hands or something, you know, like but keep it short. Like I said, it
Without
doesn't have to
speed.
be rocket science.
No, they usually do their own thing. You would just give them a bullet point of what you want.
Yeah.
If you ride the train, eat food here.
No, I meant keeping
Yeah.
it separate, like the influencer marketing one, and then the Google ad is like a different video.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, if we can put that on the agenda to discuss the influencer for December.
Yes, anybody who
And-
has
that could be
access to
better late
knowledge
than
of
never.
influencers.
When do you want the Google ad thing? When would that be best used?
I mean, I think ideally
Like
we'd be
December.
targeting the ski train starts in December.
Yeah.
So you'd want it done by then?
Right now.
Yeah,
Hey.
yeah, okay, great, yeah.
Once again.
Roughly.
once again,
How about
we're
now?
talking
And that's, I mean, in part,
Okay.
if we do an ad for the ski ride save promotion, I see it as promoting Fraser, whether people use the actual promotion or not.
Mhm.
If that's something the GDA wants to put some money at, but yeah, we'd need to talk about what that looks like and figure that out pretty quick
Okay.
Yeah.
to maximize benefit.
And then we're gonna need one of us to volunteer for that, right?
Well, we might be able to use Sarah and
I-
Kelly to try to put something together. I mean, that's what Sarah does for the town all the time, so. If we wanted to throw a little money at that advertising. Cause Google ads, what's kind of the range of what you pay?
Depends on how far I want it to go.
That's right. Yeah, totally.
I think I have one running now for like $20 a day.
Yeah, so really.
And it doesn't all get spent, it's kind of, yeah.
Click based.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
And those aren't all videos, right? They sometimes just.
I have a display ad going up right now. I used a video for our Find Your Flow for the summer stuff. Depends.
Could you, is this too much to ask? If you could put just a quick budget proposal of what that would look like on the cheaper end for us for December. So if we want to go through, we can approve it and Callie can get started working on that.
Mhm.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great.
We want to move on to the next
Yep.
now? Cool. All right, so we have the Come Up Conference series discussion. This was originally an idea I just had due to the negative outlook on just coming up in this town to younger people, kind of how to find their place, what it looks like to be able to, buy and own a home or start a business, and then also just kind of the negative look on development. I wanted to kind of change that and kind of put a positive spin on that, using people in the town that have made it with their own small businesses and kind of came from the lifty to a homeowner or somebody that grew up here and became a real estate agent or um, somebody like me that was kind of a ski bum, ski pro, didn't have a lot of money and then got involved with, owning small businesses and making a name. I just thought that that would be cool for a conference idea, something that would be kind of once a month or once every other month, and it would just kind of give the younger people in town somebody to look at their testimony or their story, and then give them some ideas to create their own way here. So on your, I don't know if everybody has one, but there's just kind of an outline I threw together here. And I think it can be relatively low budget or free, depending on who wants to get involved, right? And I think that's kind of the idea, is that we should be sharing our knowledge for free with the younger community here, people that are working these 9 to 5s and want to eventually work their way into living here permanently and not paying rent forever. Or if they are, they're able to do it sustainably and comfortably. So I kind of put a mission statement on here. The Come Up Conference empowers everyday citizens to build wealth, create opportunities, and strengthen community ties through real stories and practical strategies shared by local voices. We're redefining how our community talks about money and success, replacing limiting language with empowering terms that shift mindsets, inspire ownership, opportunity, and growth. Everybody knows that your growth here kind of depends on your network quite a bit. So I think there's a lot to do with networking in here and entrepreneurship. I don't know if I need to go over the entire outline here, but I think that some things that stick out to me personally are the recognize opportunity pathways to your dreams. So saving money with a purpose, using investments to fuel your dreams, having a clear plan for why you're saving, just little things that people forget on a daily basis. I know I have a lot of employees over the number of years that I've had a shop. I had 17 employees. So sometimes you look at those employees and there's like, what they make, and they're spending all their tips on beer and cigarettes or just daily activities. And it's like, then they complain about not having any money. And it's kind of like teaching people to, look for a clear vision for what they have and making things more of a goal. That's more important than maybe everyday consumption or just what their habits are. So changing habits, changing language. Um, and I think the language is huge. There's a lot of negative language here. Like, and people look at stuff and they say, oh, well, nothing's affordable and nothing's obtainable. And, they go all the way into, oh, I just have a job. And they don't look at things as a career opportunity. I've had a lot of people work at the coffee shop that were saying, well, this is just a job for me. Well, I can tell you that that's your viewpoint and that's why you don't move up. One of our girls has been working for us for 8 years and makes $80,000 a year working at a coffee shop. To me, that's a career, especially and she owns a horse and she has, a home now and that she owns and she has a lot of stuff just from hard work at a normal so-called job. But it's the way that she viewed it and talked to her employers and network to be able to create it into a career opportunity. And I think there's a lot of that here, and just people just get stuck on like this isn't permanent. So I'd like to look into how to change all that for people and just their viewpoints. There's a lot of people in this room that have made it here, and probably moved here with very little money or came up in the community and found their place. So that's what this is all about.
Yeah, super supportive. I do think this is within our remit as a business community. When we have the center, I'd love to host it. And I did a very similar thing, Parks, when I was running HR for Vail Resorts, because we'd hear that from a lot of our employees, and we ran thousands of units of housing, and it was wildly successful. People were interested, they cared, they learned, and it became a nice social connection too.
Yeah.
So I'd be happy to support it both personally and as a DDA.
Is there, I'm totally supportive of it. I think it's a great idea in the vein of, not creating, additional work for someone that's dealing with what's in front of them.
Yeah.
What's our, requirement for monthly meetings here versus doing something like this in place of a meeting? Because I know, like, yes, our agendas will get full, but we kind of, like anything, spend the amount of time that's available to talk about stuff. We kind of fill it. So
Yes, we do.
I do think we have plenty of opportunity to drop, 4 meetings a year to get on a quarterly with something like this. I think would be great. And then just, if we have a speaker or, a couple people who we give them the format of like what they should talk about or
Yeah.
to give their story. There doesn't need to be a format. I think that'd be awesome. And then we could go, do some in the public, go to a school for some, I don't know, whatever you were thinking for delivery. And I think it's a great idea though, but would be maybe more easily achieved if it's in place of a meeting. or two.
I think one of the challenges there is making sure that we have a quorum at the meetings. If we recognize people's other time out.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
is-
If it's on top of these meetings, like the trash cleanup day, the
Yeah.
turnout for that, I wasn't able to make it. Once it's outside of,
Yeah,
a few weeks out planned for me, it's
Yeah.
tougher to make.
totally.
So if it's in place of one of these meetings, and
But
it's,
still, if you're not here, or I'm not here at the meeting, or there's about 4 or 5 people that are busy doing things out in the field, and they don't make this, then we don't have a quorum. We can't make.
but we have a
decisions.
quorum
We
for
don't need
every
a quorum
meeting.
for these things.
Yeah, and we don't.
Okay,
for
true,
parks.
just
I don't-
discussions.
Well, and it's, instead of 9 a.m. the second Tuesday of December meeting here, we're meeting
Yeah.
there. So that's the expectation for the board members is, everyone's still
I,
there.
Sarah.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do not need to hold monthly meetings, and I
Okay.
don't believe we need to meet every month, especially at this stage of the DDA. As was alluded to, we always find plenty to talk about, and I think
Yeah, right.
have managed to never finish in less than 2 hours, but we definitely don't need to meet every month, and I think it'd be appropriate to.
Like,
So put something in there. And I think that this board and is made up, and everybody in the audience really if a younger person were here, they'd want to ask every one of you questions about how you found your place in this community. And I think that that's the whole goal. I had some high school interns, and they're really the ones that put me on it. I was like, this is the age I really should be targeting, so that by the time they get into, a everyday 9 to 5, and they're out of high school, they're out of college, whatever. They don't fall into that. They already know where they're going. They already have their network. They already, have a clear-cut plan. Or when those plans fall through, they have a network to lean on. That didn't necessarily happen for me right away, and I fell into things where I had to change my mindset completely and change my whole way of life, and multiple times. And this community will pick you up if you do that. But I think that everybody here is someone to ask questions to. So
Totally.
we have a perfect board for that.
And people in the community with whom
Yeah.
we're networked, some of them are sitting right here as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
And one of the things I'd suggest is coming back to the social media conversation. We could feature a local person on a regular basis, whether it's monthly, quarterly, you name it, tell their story and use that as the thing that is a catalyst to your gatherings.
Yeah.
So, we have a monthly rose up person, and then at the end of the quarter, we say, and if you'd like to learn more about how to achieve things like these individuals, we're having the following event.
Yeah.
And I think you've got a campaign there that is not hard to administer, but also could have an impact, and you're giving positive role models to the community.
And it will bring interest to the DDA.
Yeah.
If we do it like that. That's a great idea, Greg. I like that.
And I think some of the questions are in terms of attendance. It sounds like it'd be easy for the DDA board members if we did it during this time slot.
Yeah.
But it does that work for the public in
No.
terms of getting
Well,
them in the door?
maybe
How
for
often
the
do we do
first,
them?
maybe the first one, right?
And where do we do them? Do we want to do them at town hall and offer refreshments
No.
here, or do we
No.
cycle around to different businesses?
I'm thinking more like a coffee shop, something
Sure.
like
Yeah.
that.
You
You know, on something like this.
Rec center.
Probably a
Here.
tavern or a bar isn't really appropriate.
Oh yeah, I love the Green
Yes,
Church.
the Green Church is being renovated. And
Sweet.
And Kuchenmeister again. So I was just gonna say, I think the meeting flexibility can be a really good tool for you guys, especially if you have a purpose of wanting to get people out in a particular setting. Like one of the districts I work with is we have a new business opening. So they're hosting their meeting at that business. And then followed by a happy hour that they're buying appetizers for. So they're supporting the business, they're getting people to come out socially, and then they're getting their business done just ahead of that. So you can use different venues or times, locations to serve different purposes. Just different tone could be useful.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. You like come to
I'll
the,
add, I'm actually starting this up after meeting with Diane Butler, so I'm working on some networking resourcing groups at Parks. I would volunteer, and you put me on record, I would volunteer. I think one of the for the networking side, and I think you can have this run by a lot of this could be done by volunteers. I think that you don't need necessarily have to have every member of the board attend every time or whatever. But I think this could be done with a person volunteering, right? So
Mhm.
like I would take on the networking thing. I would host it. We'd have it at the coffee shop. We'd share it, and we put that through the social media thing. Hey, with DDA is having a meeting here. We're, and maybe not have it be a speaker, but like, this is where you find out who can do design work for you, right? Who can do
Yeah.
CAD CAM work for you?
Mm-hmm.
Who can be a mentor, right?
Yep.
Who can do X, who can do what? I think there's a huge opportunity for this across the county. I would love to help in any way that I can.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yeah, because I know just a specific one since Clark's here right now. I worked at the Tubing Hill a long time ago. And in order to make a little extra money, I started making mug masks at the time. So they were just like bandanas folded in half with some fleece on it to keep people warm. And then what we did is Mike Miller was the manager at that time, I think, and he saw these and he said, "We already carry these. We'd buy them from you." And so we would make 100 to sell. And when that happened, he said all of a sudden, "Well, we sell a lot of these. We need to buy 600 of these." And so I was still working at the same time. And that's the whole point of this is like you still have your job, you still work for whoever you're working for, but maybe you can support that in a different way or shovel snow on the side and you make this extra money and then you get that little chunk of money and you invest it into your dreams versus like, going and partying or whatever, right? And like, so that was one of my little come ups. And the only way that I had that opportunity was because I worked for the Tuping Hill for Clark at that time. So, and I think that that's sort of something that I would be sharing is something like that. Or, I know
It's
Ellie
not just a
became,
Job.
that's right. It's not just a job. It's more than that. You can make something more than that. Ellie became a real estate agent and she would be a great. To the community. There's a lot of people in this town that came from less and made more with the opportunities that they had, given that they worked with the people that they were around at that time. And a lot of it comes down to people just don't work with the people they're around at that time. They say, this is my job, I get paid this much, and I'm just going to take advantage of that and run the clock here in Fraser as long as I can until I freeze to death and move. And that's not what we want.
If we, which I think we're all kind of on board of having these meetings, if we do have these conferences and let's say we do, like, we want to have the owner of Camber talk about how they opened up the business and everything and kind of offer some free cocktails or something like that afterwards. Obviously, that's probably not an ideal location at 9 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
So if we pushed it to the evening, if it is a DDA event, what are the requirements, for the number of people, number of board members to be in attendance and like all of that kind of stuff? Like,
I don't think there is
it-
any.
we just need to post it and make it public if there's more than 2 people, correct?
If there's more than, I'm gonna let Antoinette chime in here, actually. She's
So,
our pro on these things.
so I would post it on the DDA's page that you were sponsoring an event, that there may be 2 or more members of the DDA present for a meeting, and I think that you guys just need to make sure that you know who's going to be in attendance. It's not assuming that so-and-so will be there and then all of a sudden nobody's there. But that's easy enough. That's manageable.
And then afterwards, do we need to publish anything,
No.
minutes or anything
No.
like that? We just need to post basically, I mean, obviously we would want to post it for
Yeah.
advertisement, but basically we're saying that the DDA is having an event and there's,
Yep.
there's a chance of,
Like when our board of
Absolutely.
trustees.
Having
host a
or
conference and
hosting.
There's more than 2, we just post that board members are attending this event. There
Okay.
may be more than 2 people.
okay.
And that's it.
What we
Yeah.
what we shouldn't do is at that event, somebody says, well, I've got a great idea. The DDA should sponsor something or other. And the 2 people who are attending say, yeah, we're going to do that.
Yeah,
because now
no.
we've made a decision.
Yeah.
It's not.
Beginning to push
That would be.
Yeah, no, that's not what that's about.
just piggyback just a little bit on what Park said, that I think it's great if you guys can somehow include the high school students into these. I've raised my whole family here. My children are not going to follow my husband and I's footsteps, but I'd like them to think, what is the future that they could potentially have in Grand County, seeing the struggles that we've had all of our lives and how we've managed to raise ourselves up, but hearing it from other community members and seeing, these kids and what is their future here? I think that's.
Well, and
fantastic.
so that's originally why I got involved in the intern program up there. But I know that if we sent this to the intern program, that they would probably bring their whole class here to one of our meetings. If they could ask questions, if they have to listen to our banter back and forth about our agenda, it's probably not worth it. But I know that they would love to ask questions to everybody here. I had two interns and I took them to meet Brandon one day and they love you. They call him, they text him, and he's very smart with business. So like he gave them this great spiel one day that I couldn't give them that. I gave them mine. And then I was like, oh, well, you want to meet somebody new in business, meet this guy. You want to meet someone new, meet Nate. You want to meet someone else, meet Austin. And so that's kind of the idea where it came from. It's just like, I feel like this is huge for the high school students, but it's also major for these guys that are like 21 through 30 and they can't find their way in this community. and they need direction, and they all have questions. They don't have a place to ask them. They're at the bar hammered being like, how do I do this? And it's like, no one's getting an answer there, you know?
Yeah.
So we need to give those places where people can get those answers, and some people rise to the top and they figure it out, you know?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna talk to my wife without her permission, but I'm pretty confident. She teaches the CNA class at the high school. So
Yeah.
she is doing this. She's preparing people for certification to go and work in the hospitals and the EMTs in our community.
Mhm.
And she interacts with that entire gang every day. So it would be an easy connection.
That would be awesome.
for this.
That's
Yeah.
cool. They need to figure out the venues.
Yeah, the venues can be,
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, in different businesses.
I think they
business
can
network.
move around.
Yeah, so it sounds like there is wide support for this. I
Yeah.
think one of the questions is if the board wants to come up with a set kind of schedule and program for the year, or if it feels like it makes more sense to take it one at a time as we go. I see pros and cons of both approaches, but
Well, maybe we just start with one and make it more of like a Q&A type thing with the board that we have, and then go to, if it works, we go to speakers, you know, and people that we bring on and say, you are now going to talk with Ellie Souls, or, you know, like whatever, or, you know, and I think that it can be as detailed or as, you know, open forum as you want. I just made this as something that literally anybody that wanted to be involved could pick up and read through it and be like, okay, well, I know how to speak to that, and that. This is what I did in these areas. And it's just really them saying it was kind of meant to be a speaker thing, but the Q&A is probably better.
I do like that idea for like the first conference, because the majority of the board are small business owners. I think everyone. So I think it would just be great for the community to also realize that we're not politicians.
So
that we are-
That's why we shouldn't have it here.
Like a
Yeah.
panel discussion or
that,
something, you
like,
know?
yeah, we can all introduce ourselves,
Okay.
talk about our business, how we grew that business, and kind of open it up to that. And then maybe even after that, have discussion with them, like, what would you guys like to see next time? And then we can formulate our next conference. But yeah, trying maybe in the new year, try to find one of our monthly meetings to omit and have this conference somewhere.
Okay. Yeah. And I think it's just, you know, we have a developer on our board, and I think that it's important for that to start kind of spreading in a positive light here so that we don't get held back too much. It's going to be tough because we're a small town that, you know, but I think that, you know, being on this board helped me to see a lot of things, and just talking to Greg and being around you guys, I think that the community at large could slowly spread better language. So, and that language will then turn to, you know, more I guess affirmations and manifestations for people. So cool.
Yeah.
so maybe as a next step, maybe Perks and Kelly can connect and come up with a brief promo, and shoot for, do you guys want to say once a quarter?
So personally, I'd suggest a small working group that comes up with a very specific plan that says, here's how we're going to do it.
Yep.
Here's the timeline. We've done this with every single one of the events that we've created in this community.
Yeah.
And until you can have something concrete and specific, it's really hard to get energy. So I'd be happy to join the two of you. I can share a little bit about how we structured it at Vail.
Sure.
Because I know that I know what didn't work there, and I know what did, and so I can share that. And then we'll come back with that plan if that works for
I think
folks.
that's great.
And
Yeah.
just logistically, if it's more than 2 board members, we have to post it as a public meeting.
Yeah.
So 2 is a great number sometimes. Otherwise, we can definitely post it.
Or I could just
More
provide
people.
that to the two of you, and
Yeah.
that way you don't
Yeah.
have to.
Well, Callie's not a board member, like staff.
Oh,
is
that's right.
fine, just in terms of,
Yep.
Sure.
so if it's Perks and Steve, that's great. But if more people want to be involved in
Yeah.
a working group, we
Yeah.
can do that. We just have to post those as public meetings.
I think Parks and Steve would be
Okay,
perfect.
perfect.
Because Parks got the passion, you did a great job writing this up, and Steve's got the experience.
Yeah, it's just like weeks on end of jotting down ideas, right?
Yeah, no, it's really,
where ideas come from.
That's right.
job.
Okay, cool. Well, maybe we get together later and figure that out. Good time, and
Yeah,
then
next few weeks.
yeah, okay, cool. Perfect. Is there any other business? It's future meetings, railroad station signage, DDA TIF projections. So do we want to start with?
Well, I think these are items for future
Yeah,
meetings.
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So these are good.
I will give one update on the railroad station sign that we've been discussing. I did speak with Amtrak. They are, with the modifications they're doing, there was question about the visibility of the sign. And that, oh, it's not an electrical shed. It's the shed where they actually keep the ADA lift is actually moving 400 feet north. So I think that
Wow.
will provide for better visibility
Okay.
of this sign. Does everyone, do you want me to pull
Oh.
up the sign?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pull it up.
Okay,
That's just to the left of the shelter platform that
yeah.
needs a heater that works. I know.
Mm-hmm.
But the shelter's staying where it is.
The shelter's
Mm.
staying where it is. They're not doing any modifications. Interestingly, because I pointed out that some people have commented on the state of the current timbers maybe needing some love. Hamtramck told me that this was put together as a collaboration with Winter Park Resort like
Mm.
25 years ago, and everybody
Okay.
involved is kind of long gone. And so there is not really any consistent maintenance. Like Amtrak does the lights and the heaters, but nobody really has. I'm like, if we wanted to do something more with this, who do we? I mean, we need to get permission from Union Pacific to hang the sign, which they've granted. And we would have to do a real estate agreement with Amtrak for the sign, which I've talked to them about. And once if this board decides to move forward with it and approve it, they're ready to do. But yeah, there's nobody that really.
So let's step into the vacuum, be aggressive, tell them what we want to do,
Yeah,
take absence of affirmation as permission and do it.
Uh-huh.
so yeah, in terms of, sorry, this is being funky. 1 second.
There's nothing like action to get people to respond or just let you go.
All right, so this is the sign that has been discussed. And I know, Katie, I think you brought up at the board meeting, seeing if we could add the elevation to it.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
Duh.
I think it's great.
But that station is not changing. That is staying there, old timbers and all. Amtrak's preference is actually that they hang the sign. Otherwise, we have to jump through some hoops in terms of liability and insurance, which I can't ask about if we have it ready and want to do it sooner. But their contractor is supposed to be there in April,
Mm-hmm.
beginning the work on the ADA improvements. And the ADA improvements will take time. I think the phases are over like 3 years because they keep the station open the whole time. But basically, that is not moving. The platform itself is shifting north, and then they're going to have a new ADA ramp. But right now, there is kind of a little shed that would block this on the other side. You can see it to the back there. That is what's moving 400 feet. 400
Interesting.
meters. So I
Huh.
think that actually provides better visibility.
It's an elevator.
Well, and one of the things we could do with the new one, with their permission, is include that in our mural program and decorate it.
Oh, the shed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yep.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? The Amtrak sign will still be there. It does block it at a certain point, but I don't think it's prohibitive. So Parks, I know, is still working on getting a quote from his people. We can bring that back in December.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot cheaper than what we were gonna spend, so that's then we can approve that if we like it.
Yeah.
But it should be like a quarter of the price. So that will be good.
Then in December, you'll have the new sign with the elevation on it for us to approve too.
Yeah, I can see if we can throw the elevation on that.
Yeah.
What that would look like.
And do we want one or two? Want to face it on both sides? So
That's what we've talked
Yeah.
about, having
Yeah.
one on both
Yeah,
sides.
both sides,
great.
yeah,
Double that.
yeah.
Perfect.
Especially if that shed's
Yeah.
moving.
Mhm.
Cool.
So yeah, in December, hopefully we'll look at the railroad station signs. Troy Bernberg has prepared. I'm going to meet with him this week, hopefully, to go through some DDA tax increment projections for the future. And then Steve is looking to present on behalf of the Fraser Valley Arts in terms of a proposal for future DDA contributions to the Fraser Center for the Creative Arts. One other item that I meant to include for future meetings was if the DDA board wants to revisit an event sponsorship policy. This came up in part, it's one of the items on our work plan, and when we looked at it last year, it was decided that we didn't have enough funding to want to look at that at that time. The film festival, the Winter Park Film Festival did present to the Board of Trustees to try to get the town to provide kind of a consistent sponsorship level, apart from the donor advised funds, which is how they've gotten money from the town the last couple years. And one of our board of trustees said, this is what we have the DDA for, which isn't exactly true.
Which
but
isn't
I think
exactly true.
It can be within the realm of the DDA and makes sense. One issue with the film festival is that its main showings are outside of DDA boundaries, at the Foundry. But I think having just an event sponsorship policy and criteria for what events the DDA would look to sponsor and what that could look like. And again, I do think it fits within the larger plan of development to sponsor quality events that are helping to activate and kind of increase that brand for Fraser makes sense.
But if it's outside of our boundary,
Right, well,
that's where our,
there's more events is the thing, is so then it
Yeah.
just wouldn't be largely, but I did not ask for that, just on record.
Yes. And Parks would recuse himself
Yeah, I don't.
from that discussion.
As will I on the FBA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vote.
But that's just
Cool.
like advertising at the Foundry for stuff that helps the district, so I don't see why there's any issue with it, right?
Yeah, and I spoke with Troy since he works with this stuff a lot to get his kind of thoughts. And I mean, it's one of those things that's a gray area. You can justify sponsoring or putting money into things that are just outside the DDA boundary if there is an impact and you
Yeah.
can show that kind of impact to the area within the boundaries. That said, I don't think it would make sense for the DDA to throw all its money at a film
No.
festival that's main showings are outside the
Yeah, yeah.
boundaries, but if there's
Yeah.
auxiliary promotion of Fraser,
Yeah.
I think there's some room for that.
Gives you good reason to move it to the Arts Center when we build it.
That's
that's
right.
right.
I think
Absolutely.
personally, I'd like to see more money going towards hard things like this sign, hard goods, or,
Yeah.
working on trails or stuff like that, if we can do that.
Yeah.
Right now I think it's cool to do whatever we can, but, in the future, I think that those, tax incentives and stuff is really, and rebates are where it's at for development. I think that's kind of what we're here for.
Yeah, and as, to the other item on here, the projections, as our projections grow and
Yeah.
we're, in possession of some actual discretionary dollars, then having criteria around how we spend it, I think are going to be really useful.
Uh-huh.
But that's still several years down the road.
Totally. Yeah. Okay. Anything else on this other business?
The only other
Maybe-
business that I'd like to suggest is just a slight improvement to the way in which we structure these meetings.
Mhm.
Kind of to your comment about how we talk things to death. As I look at today's agenda, and I just went and looked back at a few, a lot of these things are just information. And so what I would suggest is for the discussion and possible action category, we divide that into items that are just information.
Yep.
So here's something that the DDA should know about with a time boundary on those, 10, 15 minutes, something like that.
Yep.
And then the items that are actually for discussion, like, criteria for a event sponsorship would be an example. And those are less time boxed, less time bounded, and that's where the real discussion takes place so that we're more economical with our use of time.
I agree.
I don't know how others feel about that.
Great idea.
That sounds good.
No,
I
I'm,
agree.
I'm with that.
More productive.
Yeah. Cool.
You okay?
Yep, oh, of course, yeah.
Cool.
Anything
do.
else?
It was the
We all
first time
good
I
here?
Managed to not go up 2 hours.
Yeah.
I do just want to say before you close it out, Perks, to thank you to the members of the public that joined us. There is coffee and pastries in there, so feel free to grab
Yeah.
some and partake. If you have not already, grab more.
Yeah, right.
But thank
Right.
you for
We don't do
coming.
that every
It's great to have input, so that the board is not operating in a vacuum in terms of what we're focused on. And so we appreciate your comments and presence.
Okay, anybody want to make a motion?
I move we, yeah, seconded.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yes, thank you again, folks.
How about that? The one day I set up a meeting afterwards, expecting to be going till 11, I put